Today, I'm going to show you exactly how I edit 360 videos. The camera I use is the GoPro Max. I have tried several other 360 cameras, including the Insta360, the Ricoh Theta, and a couple of others. But for me, I have found the GoPro Max to be the most versatile camera with really good image stabilization. If you're interested in this camera and want to support the channel, there's an affiliate link in the description below. So let's get started. First, this camera actually is two cameras in one. There's a lens on the front and another lens on the back. And then the camera itself stitches the two views together into a .360 file. And that .360 file I process using just two pieces of software, the GoPro Player and Final Cut Pro. So let's jump over to the computer and I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. So we start off with a 360 file. I've created a simple demo folder here with one 360 file. I'm going to open this file with the GoPro Player. Now, the GoPro Player is a free app that you can get from GoPro, and it allows you to view your 360 footage and use your mouse to pan around. So you can see here, I'm waiting to take off behind this other Amazon plane here. And what you should also notice here is that this clip is 8 minutes and 2 seconds. I'm not sure why it's 8 minutes and 2 seconds and not just around 8 minutes, but that's the way GoPro does it. When you let your camera roll, it will make multiple files that are each 8 minutes and 2 seconds in duration. The GoPro Player app allows you to not only view the 360 files, it also allows you to trim them and also to export them. I suggest you trim them because these files get very big very quick, and the editing process is a lot simpler if you have smaller files. So in this example, I was waiting for takeoff for about 5 minutes or so. So I can move this over to here to around the 5-minute mark, and I think that's where I get my takeoff clearance. So let's back it up just a little bit. And we'll hit trim, and then we will take just the part of the clip that we want, and that's the actual takeoff. And so you see here, I identify the trim section is only 2 minutes, and I create a new document with that trim. And you see the trimming is a pretty quick process. Now this trim document is only 2 minutes and 15 seconds. So I can take this and export this file. It doesn't matter which way the camera is pointing when you do the export, because it's going to create a new file in an equirectangular format that contains everything. Now this format, this equirectangular MP4 format, this is what all the editing software needs. With Final Cut Pro, you don't need any plugins or anything. You just need the equirectangular file format. As far as the export settings, I've played around with every combination of these settings that you can imagine. And the ones that I found works the best for me is right here. 4K resolution, H.264 codec, and none of these options checked. The reason you don't want these options checked is because the GoPro software doesn't really do well figuring out the horizon when the plane is in a bank. So that's why I use these settings. Then when I hit next, now I'm exporting just a 2-minute clip instead of an 8-minute clip. So let's call this takeoff. And here you see it created the new MP4 file. And this is the file that we will process in Final Cut Pro. So let's jump over to Final Cut Pro. So the first thing we're going to do in Final Cut Pro is we're going to make a new library. I'll call this 360 Demo Library. And when you create a library in Final Cut Pro, it automatically creates an event using today's date stamp. And inside that event, we want to create a new project. Now, when you create a project, this is really where the magic happens. You have to decide whether you want the finished product of your video to be a flat file where the user cannot pan around, or a true 360 file. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to make a flat file. So this is a 4K resolution flat file, and I will call this flat demo. And even though this file is a flat file, I'm going to use a 360 data source as the actual footage I use. So here's the footage of the takeoff that we showed you earlier. And then I will pull that into my project. I'll just get rid of the audio because we're not talking about audio right now. And what happens here is that I can pan around the 360 world here. So I can start with a cockpit view here. And in here, once I've put the camera angle the way I want, I create a simple keyframe and then go forward maybe to about here, maybe 20 seconds later. And then I add another keyframe and I say, move it out here. So this is showing you how the video will start pointing at me in the cockpit, and then it will slowly pan the camera around to your next keyframe. This is how you can use 360 video as input to a flat finished file. Now let's create a 360 file. And a true 360 file, what this does is it allows the file to be an equirectangular format when you export it, so that when you put it up on YouTube or use the file anyway, people can use VR goggles to look around and pan around the scene by themselves. Okay. Now, if you don't plan to edit anything, you can take the actual MP4 file that came out of GoPro Player and upload that directly into YouTube. However, if you bring it into here, you get a couple of really cool things that happen. I forgot to name it here, so let's name it 360 demo. And in this one, I can drag that same clip in, and you see this is now a 360 file, so it's showing you the 360 file. That's a little hard to work with, so they have a 360 viewer version that is more obvious. This is what you want. And what you can do here is you can do some editing in true 360 fashion. The advantage to putting it into Final Cut Pro is that you can add editing elements in 3D. So here I've added an element, and you can see it's just a text marker. I can do all kinds of other fancy effects, but the interesting thing is that these 3D effects, I can move them around in the frame. And the actual 3D world, whenever you look around, you can see little nuggets that you may have edited in. So this is interesting if you want to do it. It's extremely time consuming, but it does create a really cool output. And with this, you can see, the end user can see a true 360. So I hope this basic tutorial helps and gets you on your way to editing your own 360 videos. And if you find a better way to do this stuff, put it in the comments below and let me know. And if you like this video, be sure to hit like and subscribe.